Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
And we welcome you to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show here on WKYC. Thanks so much for joining us. We're here for 30 minutes. I'm Jay Crawford. Over the course of today's show, we're going to be talking about the Ohio State Buckeyes. We're making our picks. Do they beat Texas to advance to the championship game against Notre Dame? Bull.
Jay, I'm Adam the Bull, and, the Browns are headed to jolly old England next year. The question is, are we going to let them back in Cleveland? And who will they play when they're in England? G.
The Browns are hanging out at the crib, as usual, for the postseason, but we will give you our postseason picks in the NFL. Jason?
The Cavs are 33-4, best record in the NBA. The trade deadline's coming up about a month away. Should they make a move, or are they good as is? We'll talk about it. Mikey.
Plus, the Cavs have the number one offense in basketball. They put up 132 on the Raptors last night after putting 129 on the Thunder on Wednesday, while Donovan Mitchell shot just 3 of 16 from the floor. We're going to start with this today, guys, but can any defense slow down this Cavs offense right now, or is this unit playing so well that there is just no stopping what Cleveland's cooking?
I think the only way they can be slowed down is if they don't shoot the ball well. Oklahoma City had the number one ranked defense, and they scored more than their average point total on the season.
With Donovan having a bad night.
With Donovan really being invisible for the first half.
Yeah.
An all-time bad night, which, by the way, we know who his defensive kryptonite is, and we saw it again Wednesday night. I just think that they are going to lose games when they beat themselves, when they have a bad shooting night. We've seen that even with teams who force teams into bad three-point shots, they still get good shots. It's because of their ball movement. I'm not saying that it's a foolproof offense. At some point, someone's going to come up with a blueprint. It looks like Atlanta's done a pretty good job, and maybe it's just their personnel that allows them to slow them down. But, guys, this is a juggernaut, and I can't believe I'm saying it.
Yeah, I mean, if they score 129 against the best defensive team with their best player struggling, I don't see how anybody could stop them. And even I even think if they played Atlanta today, they'd kick their butts too, because that was, they're as good as they were early in the season. They're even better of a team now. They're just getting better and better. They've only scored below 110 twice the whole season.
Jeez.
Ball moves faster than the men, and that ball rotation isn't really an offense. It's a natural progression of who you are as a team. Ball movement is engraved in your DNA. So it's not really about whether or not you move in the basketball. You do that naturally. The only way they could get stopped is if they don't have the effort and they don't continue to move the basketball. There are going to be some nights that they don't shoot the ball well. It's a miss or make league, as people say all the time. But when you have guys that are slotted that you do different things, that can shoot threes, and that they consistently rotate the ball faster than guys can recover, you're going to have a great chance to be unstoppable, Jason.
You're right that, believe it or not, they will have a bad shooting night. Like, it does happen in the league. So what do you do then? And can you get the stops on the defensive end? Can you create turnovers? Can you get to the foul line? Whatever it takes. And that's why I think this team is constructed, particularly with the two bigs inside. You can get the defensive stops on a night where maybe your shot isn't falling, create turnovers, get stops, and win ugly. Like, you could still play that way in the league. So are they going to go 78-4? I doubt it. But
let me say no, they won't.
But they are well constructed that they can play multiple ways. They're really versatile with the lineups they can throw out. And if they are having a bad shooting night, I'm not saying they will every time, but there are other ways that they can beat
The one thing that I'm also concerned about that hasn't been an issue so far is ego. When you're in a ball movement offense, you're relying that guys are going to get the ball to you when you are the most open man. That's the guy who should shoot. Who's the most open at this point? Get him the ball and shoot. So far, there's been no ego issues because everybody's getting theirs. Everybody's getting to eat because it's a different guy every time. I hope it continues that way, and I hope that they continue to have trust in one another, that I'm giving up the shot now because you're more open. I trust when I'm the more open guy and you have the ball, you're going to get it to me. So far, they have.
Related to that, maybe more important than that in terms of ego, and we've talked about this at times, everybody's been paid. Karras is the only one going into free agency. Everybody else has got their money. And when you got your money, you don't have to worry about your shots. You don't have to worry about your numbers and your shots.
That is fact.
So that is something that I think has been kind of overlooked in this Cavs start. I'm not saying it's the biggest factor. It's important to these guys in the locker room.
Let me ask you and Mike, I want you to weigh in on this too, because you guys are the guys that spend the most time around the group. The thing that strikes me about all of this is how it was constructed. It also seems like none of them have these inherent huge egos, and to the point of being paid, that's the most important thing. But it really does seem like the makeup of this team, both individually and collectively, is low maintenance, no divas, no egos,
Yeah.
and I don't think that happened by accident, and I think we don't give enough credit to Kobe because he's the architect.
I totally agree with that. These are not guys that are all over Instagram. They're not guys that are in the clubs. You know, they go home and play video games
Or read books.
Yeah, I mean, so it is. It does feel very much like the '80s Cavs teams in terms of that type of mentality
Right.
and mindset. It's a good group. They've done a really nice job of constructing this roster, of developing talent. It's come from different spots. Yes, they made a blockbuster trade for Donovan. They made an under-the-radar trade for Jarrett. Jarrett has grown into a much better player than he was when they got him, and then they've done a really nice job of developing Darius, Evan. They've hit on their picks. Dean Wade, an undrafted guy who's really come on to play an important role. Isaac Okoro, he's not a star, but he's a helpful piece. So they've done a nice job of identifying talent, some on the margins, some on big swings, and putting it all together.
Mike, you agree with that?
Yeah, and they're unselfish, and they genuinely like each other, which gets exuberated every time you step in the locker room. You can't leave without feeling like these guys are genuinely playing for each
The
other.
thing you can't trade for, draft, buy, they have chemistry.
Chemistry, yeah. Both Dustin and Tyvis, if you missed yesterday's show, talked about because they both won championships in college. And he talked about when you're having a special season like that, there gets to a point where you're all about the team. You're not even thinking about your individual numbers. And they both agreed that happened with them on their teams. They would get as excited for their teammates to have success as for them. And it feels like this team has that same vibe.
Yeah, it was witnessed last night when Donovan in street clothes was the happiest guy in the building for Darius with that step back three.
And even the night before, when he was scuffling mightily, a lot of superstars would have been sulking, and I mentioned this yesterday, would have been sulking at the end of the game, even in victory. Guys would have been like sour that they didn't play well. He didn't care.
Yeah, they got the
He
dub.
had a great attitude.
All right, we talked about this a little bit throughout the season. It's going to become more of an issue as we get to the trade deadline here. Can this team, as constituted, win the NBA championship this year, or is there still a move to be made that would put them over the hump?
I wouldn't make a trade. I usually scoff at when fans say, don't make a trade, the team's too good right now. But this is a unique circumstance. Certainly, if there was that perfect trade without messing up the chemistry of the top 5 or 6, 7 players, I guess I'd consider it, but I can't imagine there is. The Cavs, only negative about the Cavs is they have no assets. They essentially have no assets to trade to get anybody really valuable enough. And to make a trade to maybe get a minuscule upgrade, but that would screw up the chemistry, no, I want nothing to do with that. I would not make a deal.
I think when you look at the roster, I don't think the deal that they can make or the move that they can make is going to improve the roster. I think the roster improvement just comes from guys still continuing to work in the system. Remember, it's the first year. They haven't put everything in. You still got guys like Max Strus who's trying to work his way back in. He had a really good game last night. Guys who are like Isaac Okoro and Dean Wade who have been in and out of the lineup due to injuries. If you can get everybody back ready to go healthy, those are going to be your improvements that are going to pay the most dividends, because then you're going to work like a fine oil machine. Right now, there's a lot of in and out. The core four has been there. They've been really blessed with some good health. But if you can get those guys coming back, understanding their roles, like we said, it's a good problem to have. They can go 10 deep. And so now it's just figuring out the pieces and rotations, how to move, especially when you're trying to play against the Celtics and some of these teams in the playoffs.
They actually go 11 deep, by the way. I mean, they're playing 11 guys significant minutes right now.
You can't have this conversation without talking about where they are with the cap and the tax and everything else, because that plays a huge part in this, and should they or should they not make a move. We've talked about it on the YouTube show multiple times already. They're a couple $1 million into the tax right now. Ideally, they don't want to start that tax clock until next year.
Right.
So how do you trim $2 million without disrupting what you have on the floor. And that's really the question that I think this front office has to answer. Is there a move out there we can make where we talk about how deep this team is? Would they be better off upgrading one piece? Can you upgrade the backup big? Can you get something better than George Niang? Can you combine two salaries, get a little bit more money on one player, but yet still dip under the tax? Is there a way to do that? If you're going to pay the tax, then really pay the tax. Is there a move to make to go all in that bumps you into the tax and starts that clock a little bit sooner, but makes you increasingly better? I don't have all the answers as we sit here today, but you can't have the do they make a trade or not, should they or should they not make a trade, without having the tax conversation and all the implications that come with that, because we've talked about this before. I've written about it extensively. This team has a really long runway in terms of they're young and everybody signed to long term. This is not a one-year thing. This is not a team at the end of its window. This is a team at the beginning of its window. And do you want to stunt something 4 years from now when this could really be popping because of $2 million today?
But you never know, Jason.
But you're right. You're right. You never know.
Every other year they could have injuries,
And that's why they are really kind of in a really tricky spot right now of what do you do?
And George Niang, even though he may be a little flawed as a player, from what I'm told, and again, you and Mike would know better than me, he's extremely popular in the locker room.
I'm not saying you have to trade him. You can upgrade that spot. You can put somebody better in front of him and keep him in the locker room.
That's true. I am inclined to stay exactly where you are. You're the number one team in the NBA by most metrics. You have a nice, comfortable lead for the one in the East. I think the most important thing from here to the end of the regular season, outside of health, is maintaining that number one seed. That is going to be the ace in the hole for them in the series with Boston. I don't know how this team, as constituted, finds a way to beat Boston in their place. I just don't. So, I mean, not to say that they can't or won't, but I would much rather have 4 of the 7 in Cleveland. I'd feel really good about their chances to get to the NBA
Real
Finals.
quick, staying at what is important not only for that reason, but also, to me, there's a clear line of demarcation in the East after 3. The Knicks are also very, very good. Yep. I'd like to see the Celtics and Knicks have to play in the semis and not have to play both of them.
100%. Yeah. If for no other reason, take a little bit of energy
they beat each other up. Yeah.
All right, we're taking a break. When we come back, we're talking about the Cleveland Browns. They will play one of their 9 home games in London next year. Who do you want to see them play on the other side of the ball? Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Bull, you want to give the
before we
All-Pro
jump in,
teams quickly?
Yeah, breaking news, the All-Pro teams have been announced, and not shocking, Myles Garrett is the only member of the Browns to make either the first team or second team. He is one of 2 first team
I'm surprised Denzel Ward didn't make the second team.
He did not, yeah.
While we're talking breaking news, we should mention, we didn't talk about it. We talked about it on the YouTube show today, but not on the Channel 3. About Deshaun Watson re-tearing his
that's a
Achilles.
good point. Deshaun, we did talk about it on YouTube. Deshaun Watson
if you
tore
missed
his
the
Achilles.
YouTube show and haven't heard yet.
A second Achilles tear in 3 months, so very likely going to miss the entire season.
Somehow Adam Schefter's reporting that the timetable for the recovery is 7 months.
I think he said 7 months at the best.
Yeah,
and,
it would
best
start
case
at 7
scenario.
months. I mean, that would make him ready for camp. I can't.
Realistically, this very well could be a career ender.
It seems like it's more that than ready in 7 months. All right, guys, the Browns are one of
3 teams.
3 teams that have been notified they will be playing a game in London. One of their 9 home games next year. So they were supposed to have 9 of their 17 at home next year. They're going to forfeit one of those as they go to London to play. It always seems like I don't think teams love that. Jacksonville has always been like, well, you're going. Yeah. We know you're going. And now that the Browns seem to be back into that mix. Is there a team that you guys would like to see the Browns play? We can assume it will not be a divisional opponent. They wouldn't do that.
No.
But is there one of the other teams that the Browns are slated to play next year that you'd like to see in that London matchup?
So, if you're going to lose a home game, I guess you'd rather lose it against the worst team on your schedule.
Right.
And the Tennessee Titans, I believe. The Titans, right. The only team they're playing next year at home that's not good is the Titans. Every other team is good.
Well, San Francisco had a down year because of a lot of injuries. They won 6 games.
You could make an argument that 8 of those 9 teams could be in the playoffs next year. The Titans are the only team, nobody's making an argument for them going to the playoffs next year. So I guess I'd say I'll take the Titans because, you
want to win a home game
right,
that's not
sure.
in your building.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, give me an NFC team that if I take that L, it ain't gonna hurt me that much in the division. Give me the Vikings. I'll take the Vikings on the road. I know they played good this year. I know Sam Darnold's balling, but give me one of them non-conference NFC games if you want to get smoked doing that. I'm cool. I'll take the Vikings. I think San Francisco's going to bounce back next year.
Oh, yeah, they are.
And, I'll take my chance with the Vikings.
Well, Vikings-Browns was the last time they were in London. That was the matchup, and I believe it was 2018, 17?
I think it was 18.
Which means Stefanski beat the Browns in London because he was on the
did beat the
Vikings
Browns.
coaching
Stefanski
staff.
beat the Browns.
And you want to take one of the few chances the home fans have of seeing a
That's true,
win.
you're
Yeah.
right.
You want to
I
strip
say
that
give
from
me the
them,
Bills.
you masochist.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Oh,
I don't want to go to a home game where I know we're going to be the
Get their arms and legs
dessert,
torn off.
entree, and appetizer.
All right, fair.
So take the Bills.
I did pick a divisional. I said Baltimore.
Yeah, but I look, I would like to see that, but I don't think the league's going to do that.
Well-
Those divisional games are too important to steal
Yeah,
one.
I hear you. But the way I looked at it, though, was it's so rare I'm looking from a fan's perspective, you don't get to see all these other teams come through very often. So you get to see Baltimore every year. You get to see Cincinnati every year. I hear you on the importance. It's probably not going to be that. But I would rather it be a team that comes to Cleveland every year rather than lose an opportunity. I know San Francisco was here not that long ago. Miami was just here this year. But still, it's rare to get these undivisional teams, non-division teams that come through here. So send over a team that
Here's
you
the
see all
other
the
reason
time.
I said Buffalo. If that game's late in the year, this would be Buffalo West. You know,
that's
the
true.
But
stadium
they're-
would
but-
be filled with Bills Mafia.
But the Europe games tend to be early. Those are September games.
They tend to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know when they're going
And
to
I-
play.
September or October, yeah.
And you don't want it to be Miami. You want Miami here in December. It didn't work out so well this year, but maybe next year will be different.
Yeah.
You want Miami here, those warm weather teams, you want them here in the cold months.
I agree. Is anybody here a fan of the games in London? Because I am not.
Well, I am only from a viewing standpoint that it's another window because now they put them all at 9:30.
I know, but see, to me, it's like, gosh, you guys used to own 7 hours of my Sunday every week.
Yeah.
Now you own 11 hours.
I'm okay with them
And when
owning
they play
11
in
hours.
London, I'm
It's like
trying to
9
have a
o'clock.
life here outside of sitting on a sofa watching football.
Jay,
kinda
focus
And on
that.
Then shut
Sundays,
the TV off and get up.
I know, but if it's the Browns, I can't.
Yes, you can.
Well, but if it's the
I-
Browns,
I-
if it's the Browns and they play at 9:30, hey,
You got the rest of
misery
the
is
day
over
to,
early
to-
in the
to
day.
get over the loss. You're right. All right, we're taking a break. Who wins?
No, we're
We're
not.
doing playoff picks.
Yeah,
We're doing
yeah.
playoff picks. Let's pick wild card weekend winners and losers. Bull,
Yeah.
we'll start with you.
All right, do we have the games forward just so I can see them? Are we picking them with a spread or just
No,
straight
just
up?
pick,
Just
picking
pick straight up
winners.
winners.
All right. Okay, so I don't remember all the games at the top of my head. Mike's
Los
got a
Angeles-
schedule. Give me
Los
something.
Angeles-
Graphic?
Los Angeles at Houston.
Los Angeles and Houston. No, Los Angeles not playing. Oh, the Chargers. Mike,
Bull, you were at it. You were off.
you
your
said
game.
Los Angeles. Say the Chargers. I got the Chargers. Go.
Go on the horn.
I picked Houston as my preseason pick to go to the Super Bowl, so I got to go Houston.
Yeah, but they haven't lived up to
I
it.
know, but I'm going to
Yeah,
die with
I
them.
Houston.
I know they playing terrible, but I got Houston in this game.
Chargers are my dark
All right,
horse
2
in
for the
AFC.
Chargers, 2 for Houston.
Chargers,
Next.
watch out for the Chargers.
Pittsburgh at Baltimore.
Jason.
Pittsburgh in an upset.
Baltimore.
Baltimore all the way.
Baltimore.
Pittsburgh's done.
Denver at Buffalo.
Gee, you go first.
Come on. Why we got to do this? Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Man, if Buffalo loses that game,
But I will
it's a
say,
disaster.
Denver's going to give them they're going to give them a tough way.
Buffalo in a sweep.
Yep.
Green Bay at Philadelphia.
Jay, you're first.
Okay, this is my first upset. I'm going Packers.
That's a tough one, one of the toughest ones of the week, but I'm going to go Philly, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Packers win.
I agree. I think it's going to be a great game. Give
Yeah.
me Philly.
Shout out to the rapper Eve. Philly.
All right.
Washington at Tampa Bay.
Can't believe I'm saying this, but I got Baker Mayfield and the Bucks.
Baker
Yeah.
and the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with
Rookie quarterback.
riding with 6, man.
Bacon ears, baby. Bacon ears.
And last but not least,
you knew what I was going to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah.
His cheeks was so
Minnesota
full.
at Los Angeles Rams in Arizona.
Arizona.
Vikings.
Minnesota.
Oh, Vikings. Come on.
Rams in an upset.
I could see that too,
I can
but I'm
see
still
that
going with the
happening.
Vikings.
But they're gonna be loud up there, man.
Yeah. Should be
We're
good
pick-
games.
We're picking Ohio State after the break.
Okay.
Yeah, we are. We're taking a break. When we come back, Ohio State tonight against Texas in Texas. A road game for the Buckeyes in the college football playoffs. Who wins, we'll tell you when we come back on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. It is time to talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're just 2 wins away from another national championship. 1 win away from playing for it against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, a team that they played a great game against last year. A lot of people may remember. It's interesting, as I was watching the Penn State Notre Dame game, Ohio State beat Penn State due to a goal line stand, and they beat Notre Dame last year due to a goal line stand. Let's talk about tonight's game. Texas is playing in Dallas in the Cotton Bowl. It's an unfair advantage. You would think that they could have avoided this somehow, some way. Who wins tonight?
Come on. We know one thing. Ohio State travels well. They will not be out-traveled by most people. It is in Texas, but this game, I got the Buckeyes coming out here rolling. I'm going to be honest with you. I called it out against Oregon. They came out there. I think Chip Kelly is hitting his stride. Jeremiah Smith is a legal cheat code. He's a monster. The running backs, Junkins and Henderson, are running the ball well. And Jack Sawyer, I'm hoping he falls to the second round. I'm looking at you, Jack. If you fall down to the Cleveland Browns, I love it. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Ohio State is hitting their stride. They roll in this game, Jason.
I like Ohio State to win. They've been in this position before, the fan base has. Ohio State's played LSU in Sugar Bowls in hostile environments, and OSU still traveled. Obviously, LSU had the advantage. I expect Texas to have the advantage in the crowd tonight, but Ohio State will travel. I think this offense is rolling right now. They're playing how they should have been playing all year long. And that Michigan game, I thought, would go one of 2 ways. Either they're going to lose in the first round to Tennessee and everybody's getting blown out of the building, or they're going to win the whole thing. And it certainly seems to be the second, that it has woken up a sleeping giant. And the way they're playing on offense right now, I don't think anybody can stop them.
The Buckeyes have had the most talent for at least the last 2 years in college football. And until this postseason, they had underachieved in most of their big games. And now they're living up to their billing. They played great. I credit Ryan Day. I killed him when he did terrible, so I credit him now. The total stats for the season don't matter, especially on offense. This is a completely different team than we've seen at all. Right now, they look like a absolute juggernaut. I don't see how anybody can beat Ohio State at this point.
Watching the Texas-Arizona State game was eye-opening for me. I know Arizona State had a nice year, and they were a good story, and they were fun, and all of that. But Texas was the team that had a lot of the hype coming into the season about they're going to win it all. And they really struggled in that they had to score a touchdown on 4th down in overtime to win the thing. Mm-hmm. So I've been underimpressed by this Texas football team, and I just think Ohio State is, to what you guys have been saying, this juggernaut that was the Great Awakening was the loss to Michigan to me. You hate that they have to lose the rivalry game to suddenly grab them and shake them up and get them going. But Jeremiah Smith is a cheat code. They went to him early and often in Tennessee and against Oregon, and I would tell Texas, you better have some great coverage plans for this guy because he's going to get open. He is a man. He could, right now, he would be the best wide receiver on the Cleveland Browns.
I draft him right now.
He's a 19-year-old.
At 2, I draft him.
He's better than Jerry Jeudy.
He'd be the first pick in the draft.
He's unbelievable.
Why wouldn't you, if you're Texas, why wouldn't you double team him on every play?
Well,
Texas has the Thorpe Award winner, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they do, and they're and it's gonna be the matchup within the game. But I just don't think that you're gonna. Then they've got Ibuka, who is a great route runner, and
the backs can catch the ball out of the backfield.
They've got 2 great backs.
They got a lot of stuff. And here's the great thing: I think the Michigan loss really woke up the coaching staff. They woke them up. They said, hold on, let me go back and read. Why are we not doing this? Why are we not being aggressive? Defensively, they're bringing more pressure. They're more aggressive up front. They're doing their thing. So, listen, this is going to be a great game. I love the college football playoff in general, but I love to see these type teams get together when it counts.
This is the national championship game as far as I'm concerned. The winner of this game is – I love Notre Dame. I love Marcus Freeman. I covered him when he was at Ohio State. Great man. Root for him. Both of these teams, to me, are better than Notre Dame. Whoever wins this game tonight probably is going to win the national championship.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Does everybody else believe that Ohio State is destined to win this thing?
Yes, but Marcus Freeman's going to have some. He's going to have some stuff ready for him, though.
Yeah, he always
but
does.
I got Ohio State.
All right, very good. It's going to be interesting to see what that Buckeye travel. We talk about the Buckeye travel. They had to travel to the Rose Bowl. Now they're writing checks to travel to Dallas, and some of them are thinking if they go to Atlanta, I want to be there too.
Where do you guys
work? It's a lot
work
of bread.
Where do you guys work? Please tell me where you get this PTO.
A lot of people got money.
Nationwide insurance down in Columbus. Have a great weekend.
Peace.